Hello, and welcome to Words from Your Mama. I'm your host, Simone. If you're a mom or maybe considering being a mom and you want some encouragement along the way, then this podcast is for you. On this podcast, I interview moms from every walk of life as they share their experiences. So thanks for listening. All right, so we're interviewing a very special person, and I'm super excited who's on. We have Naomi Phillips, who is going to share a little bit about herself. So, welcome to the podcast, Naomi.
Thank you, Simone.
So, share with us three things that you're grateful for about your children.
Oh man, that's awesome. Three things that I'm thankful for about my children. I'm thankful for my new grandchild. That's one. That's my new one. I'm thankful for th- they are all the that they got the best of me. I'm thankful for the memories and the things that I see in them, all the good times in my life. Like when you look at your kids and you can just go back and remember all these amazing, beautiful times. There's a lot of good and bad in our lives, but you're the good times. So I'm thankful for everything that they've given me that they don't even realize they've given me. That would be number two. And then the third thing that I'm grateful for about my children, that's purpose. When things have been hard in my life and I've maybe, been feeling hopeless or worthless or, going through things, my kids have always given me purpose and meaning. And so I would say that would be the third thing I'm thankful for.
Yeah, those are solid. Solid. So, now share with us. I listed five, but you can list as many as you'd like. Share with us a list of qualities or traits that you admire in your children. You don't have to explain,
Oof.
but if you feel like it, go ahead.
Okay, so this is hard because I got three, but
Right.
I will say this. Okay, so I'll start with my oldest, for Marley. Marley is very independent, so I just think that's an amazing thing. She left the house before she was 18. She started college because she was a young grad, and so she was 17 when she left. And even though looking back on it, we had a lot of beef. There was a lot of attitude, and I won't get into that. That's another podcast. But she did it, and she didn't. She dropped out of college, and I gave her grief for that. And she went and did her own thing, and she's successful in it now. She did it, so she's always been very independent and headstrong. And I think that I admire that because when I was 17 through 20, I made some really poor decisions because I wasn't confident. So that would be my one for her. Maybe the second one, since we're going with five, two for her. She's confident in ways that I would never be. She has a confidence um, that I never had, and I'm so thankful to see that one of my children had confidence in something because I am not, and I never was, and so I don't know. Maybe she got that from her dad or something. So those would be those. Let's go with those two. Now my son, I'll give two for Jacoby. The quality for Jacoby, he is absolute in his decisions. He cannot be swayed. um, if we could say he's convicted. He has conviction. He doesn't, and he's for that reason he's very quiet, and he can be looked at sometimes as maybe a lone type of person. He's not afraid to be alone, and because and there's maybe some walls up, but he just knows if something isn't right. He's been in some positions before where he just stopped hanging out with people, no problem, no, because of he didn't believe in what they believed in. Done, boom, and he was okay with it, and he was comfortable to move on. He has strong convictions, and so I think that's awesome. And another trait from him, he's funny. I mean that's he gets that from me. He got that from me. So I appreciate his humor, and his sensitivity at the same time. And then for my last trait, I would just go to with my daughter, and she's super tenacious. It's annoying at times, and I give her a hard time for her tenacity and things. Sometimes it can be used in negative ways, but that kid will never let go of whatever she wants, whatever. If she's got her mind set on that, it does not go away. And so I admire that tenacity.
Yeah.
So that's five. Yeah,
Those are five very solid, I feel like very true. Like, yeah, those are well rounded answers.
it's good.
So, in
Good.
the vein of listing qualities in your children, share three ways your children have helped you grow as a person.
Yeah. Gosh, these are good questions. These are crazy
Aren't they
questions.
though?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They really do. And like now, even I'm talking, I'm like, maybe I'm not so bad of a parent. I ended up having some good answers.
And they're responsible
Um,
adults who are out there making like havoc on the world.
yeah,
You raised great
yeah.
kids, Naomi.
So far, so good. I still got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
So, Zeppelin's still. Come on, girl. All right. Three ways that they've helped me grow as a person. They have build my faith in people. Again, like my life hasn't been nobody's life is perfect, so I'm not even saying it like for me, but it was just hard times, and I feel like they helped me to I don't know, just to have purpose, to see the positive things in life. Joy, they gave me joy when maybe I didn't have joy. And so they did help me to come out of some dark times and to look at things, from a positive perspective.
Yeah.
They have helped me with looking like not being so heavy too. Kids will bring in some humor into situations, and I do think that there are times when it's like, we got to look at this. God and spirituality and reading scripture, it's a very serious thing, but I do believe that God has a major sense of humor. And I think he put a lot of it in my family. Like my kids can make any situation, like they just have been able to lift things for me, if that makes sense. When things kind of get heavier down, they have a way, especially my son, Jacoby, if I'm in a bad mood or something after work, still to this day, he'll come in and do or say something, and it just kind of lightens it. Kind of reminder that you gotta love life. Like there's too many good things in life and fun things in life. Um, so that would be the other way that they've helped me to grow as a person, to lighten up, and then I don't even know the third way that they've helped me to grow as a person. They definitely soften me, soften my heart, and made me I didn't really, care for people, to get close to people, for that whole fear thing of maybe just being hurt or something. We put up walls as adults, and
Right.
and so I think that they help me to give people a chance, and to be able to open up to, and I do know it's helped me even in this ministry that we're doing in the recovery program. I think that was, I don't think I would be doing that if I didn't have kids to kind of remind me that humans are amazing. They're good. Everybody's good, and everybody's got a story.
Yep. I 100% relate to that last one because I can speak firsthand, not having kids. It's very easy to distance yourself from people because I don't
Yeah.
need to. I can do whatever I
Yes.
want. But if you
Yeah.
have kids, you actually have to be intentional in making those relationships because,
Right.
number one, you don't want your kid sleeping over someone's house you don't know, so you need to make
Correct.
friends. And then number
Correct.
two, kids are so innocent and just benevolent in their own sense that they just walk up to
Yes.
strangers and you
Yes.
can't let that happen.
Yes.
So
Just
yeah.
wait till you go to your first birthday party with all the different parents there, and it's like you're kind of forced into, yeah, it's gonna happen. You can't flip your phone out. Someone's gonna come up and talk to you, Simone. You're gonna be forced to talk to them.
My kid will never be allowed to go to any birthday party ever.
That's good. That's good stuff.
Just kidding. So, oh, I love this one. Share a daily routine or even just a special time that you have with your child that you treasure.
Okay. Night prayer. Night prayer. I knew that one right away. Night prayer. My daughter. It doesn't matter where she's at. It's just so amazing. My daughter, I wish she would do it at church. She doesn't do it as much. I don't know if she's too nervous about people watching her, but she's a prayer warrior like my husband. And so we do night prayer, and before we go to bed, and it's become such a habit. She tries to outpray my husband, by the way. Like she will wait. She will even like she'll say things over and over again until he gets done and says amen and amen, and then she'll like add something else, and then he'll add something else. But I think what's awesome about it is that, again, this goes back to like, you have to have God in raising your children and in your relationships and in your everyday. But she'll be at a friend's house spending the night, and she will find a room to go to and call us on her tablet, and we pray every night. Yes, and she does, and it's such a beautiful thing. Um, and if her dad, when he's out at work, he will try to call from the boat. And those nights that he can't call from the boat, it's a big deal. It's a big thing because it's become such an amazing time for
Oh,
just all of us. So I would say night prayer is our special routine.
I
Pretty
love
amazing.
that. It's so
Yeah, it's
special.
amazing. It is.
Oh,
It's great. It's great.
it's so good. Because even when, like, the Bible talks about teach them or raise up a child as in the way which
Yes,
they shall go, so they won't depart from it. So, like, even when
that's
she
it.
gets older, she's going to be in college and she's going to be like, it's 7 o'clock. I'm about to go to bed, but I need to pray. It's so
Yes,
good. Oh, I wish. I'm not going to say I wish I had that. I definitely had that growing up, but it wasn't like as significant as that. That sounds very special.
it's pretty awesome. And I'm gonna say this: it's probably more between her and her dad, for sure. Like when I pray with her when he's not around, it's not a big deal. But all three of us together, and it's really their thing that I'm trying to insert myself into. But it's so great. It is such a cool time. It's awesome to watch. It's just really neat to be able to be part of it. So I'll latch on
Aww,
and I'll claim it.
I love it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so share with us a lesson that you've learned from your child or your children and how it's made your
Mm,
life better.
oh my goodness, there's so many, so many. Um, it's hard again with the distance between my kids' ages, but um, they've made my life better. How I'm going to say this that I've learned this from all three children. You cannot compare. Do not compare. Not even your own kids being able to love them for who they are. And my daughter was a straight A 4.2 student. And I thought I would have had to push school on my son, who my son barely made it through high school. And that's a true story, but a true story. And during that time, COVID, when Jacoby was struggling, I gave it to God because I didn't know what I was supposed to do because he wasn't at the status that Marley was at. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and he wasn't quite there, and I had to pray about it. Like he wasn't even close to being there. And what are we going to do? What's he going to do with his life? What's he going to do with his future? And I mean, I gave it to God, and He spoke to me. He spoke to me um, very directly that He's got them. He's got every one of us, every single one of us in the palm of his hands, and he's in absolute control. And he did also point out to me, my daughter, who's this 4.2, went through college, and yes, she did. She dropped out, but she's got her little, she went and she's got her career now and her life together. She's not in church right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and not that he's got her, but he pointed out, your son's in church. He may not be the best student, but we have a relationship. And so I guess the bigger thing at that point that he was trying to show me was, don't compare any of them. you know don't compare, and not even, and ladies and gentlemen, don't compare them to other kids. Your child is made, we're all wonderfully and perfectly made. We're supposed to all be different, unique. And so we can look around sometimes and look at what others are doing and look at ours and go, oh man, what like what's going on. God has complete control of their lives, and he knows what, where they're going. So I would say that has taught me to just really, I have to, like we were talking about earlier, I have to loose the reins and lose control of trying to think that I have to get them to where they need to be. They're going to at some point and I'm not talking about young ones, y'all. We got to raise our kids. I'm not saying that we just let them do whatever they want, but as they're adulting and they're getting into these older ages, we have to step back and let them, find their own way. They're not all going to be this cookie cutter, um, you know, kid. They're gonna be their own individuals, and you just gotta love them because somebody loved me, right?
Yeah, that's huge. So huge. I feel like that's probably one of the largest deterrents or like hesitations to becoming a parent is the comparison. Because even if you
Yeah.
don't have multiple kids, you're comparing
Yeah.
your one singular kid to society. And
Yes.
you're
Yes.
facing a difficult battle right now because you've got two that were public schooled and now you're homeschooling one. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you're like, I pray to God Zeppelin turns out okay. I hope she passes all of her
Yep,
tests.
absolutely. Absolutely. Every time I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, you do. You just worry like, is this, yeah, we do. We worry way too much as parents. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he does. And we just can't compare him. That would be my lesson. I learned not to compare. It's just it doesn't do a parent any good. And then you're setting them up for failure that way.
Yep. Because then you push that on them and then they feel
Yeah.
tense and it's just a vicious
Yes.
cycle.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's listing 5 things that you admire about your mom.
My mom's a hard woman. My mom is a lot like, I would say she definitely is tenacious. My mom is, um, she would roll over. She would give you the shirt off her back to help you. Even though she's crazy and she will always tell you an open, honest, really mean answer. She'll say the sweetest thing in the meanest way, but she will do anything for anyone. And she was a great mom. She was a great mom. She wasn't perfect, and um, through had 3 years of therapy, I've learned that she had her own issues to deal with. But I do know this about my mom. My mom loves her family. She is super family based. In fact, she's flying me out in a couple of weeks just to be there for the weekend for my grandpa's turning 90 and they have the same birth
Wow.
month. So like they all celebrate the May birthdays, right? And so for her birthday at the end of May, she's flying me and my brother out. Flying us out just to be there with the family. So I do believe that my mom has she's got a lot of good core like family values. She definitely loves her family. She loves her children, and I was saying like even though we've had like a very we've had a rough relationship. We've had some hard times, and we don't see eye to eye in so many things. She's just she loves hard. She's a good woman. We're gonna give her credit. I'm gonna give her a little credit right there.
That's awesome. So, share your first thought of when you held your child for the first time.
Mhm. Yeah, that was a good one. I just remember it just isn't, you're just in love. I mean, you know, I just remember being so afraid before and before labor too. You're just like, what are we doing? You're just not, I don't think anybody is ever ready. Um, and you go through this crazy time of labor, no matter what you have, whether it's planned or not. And I just remember with Marley that, I mean, just being in love, just absolutely, that's what it is. It's I don't even know. It is the you don't know what else to do. That's it. It's a life changer for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Life changing.
It is. It is. It's crazy. Crazy.
So, I know earlier we were talking about worrying a lot as a parent,
Mhm.
but can you share or voice a few of those worries or concerns you had as a new mom?
Yeah, I was most concerned about everything. You are in charge of a human being, like it's I feel like it's huge responsibility. So I didn't know what, like the biggest worry was like how are we going to make it? It's crazy, and how are we going to afford to live? How am I going to, be able to afford to go to work, or am I going to go to work, or am I going to stay home? I don't, like you have all of these. I believe they're normal worries. Just like I was talking about my daughter, you know, she was running through all these, just being overwhelmed with what am I doing? I think it's more of, this is a human being,
Right.
and and so again, so there's a few of them. Finances was one of my big ones. With every child, how are we going to afford even a second child and then a third child? But like, I can't even afford the two I have. How am I going to have another one? Right. And so you do like finances, and then just what, like, am I going to shape, how am I going to affect? I know my kids, and I don't know, I'm sure your parents, your mom, your dad, they affect you. They mold you, whether it's good or bad. And I think it's a combination of both. As adults, we're affected by our family, and I didn't want to negatively affect my kids. I didn't want to hurt them in a way to where they had so many issues as adults. And these are things that I was thinking about. I'm like, man, because I know, like, I'm dealing with this from my mom, and I'm dealing with this from my, whatever, my past. I don't want to put that on them and make them. I just remember being worried that I was going to screw them up. And honestly, and then you just roll with it and you adapt, and then you probably do screw them up a little bit. They're a little nutty here and there, but it does. You just adapt. Somehow you afford it. Somehow you learn to get over every challenge. Somehow they make it through the first week, and so with time you're just like, okay, I got this. Yeah, it's not what I thought.
Yeah, day by day, baby
Yep.
steps.
Yep.
So, from that perspective, kind of share how you were supported by others as a
Mm,
first time mom.
yes. Yes. I had my mom came out. My mom helped me with every delivery. She was there except for my daughter. She was my last daughter was Zeppelin. She came 2 days after. And by then I had known what to do. So my mom helped me, supported me the first few nights. I had people from church bring me, the
Mm-hmm.
food over for about, a few weeks. I was able to have people come over um, and give me food. But I would tell any people, don't turn away help.
Yeah.
Okay, like, ask for help. These are some great advice. Like, and I don't know if there's a question about advice from moms. There probably is, but like,
Yeah.
my parents, my mom knew I needed sleep. And I did the same thing for my daughter when I was out there. So there are times when the baby, every little cry, and new mom thinks that she's got to get up and do this thing, and they exhaust themselves. So, get help, get someone. If they offer to help you and you trust them, let somebody stay with you, let them help you, so you sleep. So the child misses one feeding in the night because, somebody took them out while you slept an extra 2 hours. In the long run, it's not going to do anything. And for this child, it's going to, so be good to yourself and ask for help. Try to get some sleep. That was probably the biggest one, was my mom coming out there. She was an L&D nurse. She was open with delivering babies and postpartum afterward. And so she wasn't afraid to show me things and teach me things and to make me comfortable with my body afterward. So that was huge to me. And even in that, I'm realizing my mom, that's another quality of my mom. She did help me with that. Just
That's
being
awesome.
comfortable. Yeah.
It's awesome. Do you have any resources that helped you get through motherhood? It's kind of tacking on to the last one we just asked.
Yeah. Yeah. Just your helpful resource, your church family. If you have church family, if you don't, your family, whoever your closest, your people are, those people that you trust, use them. You should use them. You know, my first lady, when she wasn't there so much and she didn't have children of her own, but she just was there when I was feeling postpartum weird feelings and feeling like I just want to get rid of my kids. But if I tell anybody else, they're going to think that I'm the worst mother in the world.
Yeah.
Being able to open it to somebody, and that would be my thing. Your resources, yeah, you need, there's financial, there's WIC, there's government stuff, but you need for yourself, your mind, like you need somebody that you can just lay into when you're overwhelmed. And so, for me, it was my first, the first lady of my church, and a couple of my really close friends there, that they're not going to tell me what I want to hear. They're going to tell me what I need to hear.
Yeah.
Yep.
So good.
Yep.
What is your favorite way to bond with your children or your child's?
That's good. I just think it's time, just time with them. Every kid is different. Every child is different. Um, so it would just depend on what we're doing. But to make time, even one-on-one time, when you, especially like you look at these families that have 3 or 4 or 5 kids, and I do see the pattern of, mom and dad having a one-on-one date with one of their children at a time. That's so important, just to let them know that they, that they're able to um, have that quality time with them, and that they're their own person, that they're not just part of the bunch.
Mm.
Um, with specifically bonding with Zeppelin, it would be food. Any food. Food is her thing. So if there's something new out, and even with my son Jacoby, like if there's a new weird fad thing that's out there, he's a fan of that. So we'll try to go check out whatever it is, crumble cookie or whatever's out there that shows up on the scene. We go check it out. But I think it's just time. It's just hanging out and spending, time doing whatever they like to do.
Yeah, it's the most valuable thing you can give them.
It is. Come on now. You could do a whole podcast on that.
What piece of advice have you received as a mom or as a parent that made the biggest difference?
That's good. Um, this guy said this to me when my kids were about, I don't know, 7 or 8. Zeppelin wasn't here yet, but he was a psychologist, so he was a little weird. But he made a comment on children, and I asked him, he had older kids, and so we were just in a conversation, and I said, well, what age is the best age? And he said, every one of them. He said, every one of them. He said, there's a whole, like, cherish every moment. But he said, don't get stuck on, I like, as a mom or as a parent, we miss the neediness of the kids. We miss them being young. We miss them being babies. And some people can get so stuck on that. He said, everything's temporary. Yeah. Everything's temporary. So enjoy every stage. And he said, because every stage has a significant moment. And as they get older, he said, they may not be as needy, and I've said this a few times, I think, in the interview, but to watch them become human beings, to watch them become adults and make decisions, like, that's the payoff. So when you're a kid, you get to watch, when they're babies, you get this, they're so needy, they're so cute, they cry, you bond with them, you're doing the breastfeeding thing as a mom, you're bonding during that, and this relationship is, becoming strong. Then they're learning things, and you get to watch them learn. But he said, as they get to teenage years, they become like, their thought process, he said, just every step along the way is the right age. So the point was, he just said, just be in the moment. Be in the moment. Don't try to rush anything or look back. Just enjoy everything, because every moment is temporary. You're not going to get it back. And I was like, wow, that's super good, solid advice. So I just try to remember that, especially at that moment, because you are so rushed. You just want to see certain things, or you just want to get them, just get into high school, just get into, and I even joke about it with my daughter now. I'm like, I just can't wait for her to just get to be an adult. But really, and that's just my sarcasm kicking in, but really, I just enjoy every moment with every one of them, anytime I can, because you get to see this. It's just such an amazing, I guess, path. It's an amazing, it is. It's an amazing journey to watch them.
Yeah.
Yep. Good advice.
It's very good advice. I was just thinking about it. It's really good advice. Just marinating on it a little bit. That's great.
It's good.
So, I know we're slamming through these. I just don't want to take up too much of your time.
No, you're good. We're good.
So, share a moment that you discovered something new about yourself as a person.
In motherhood and parenting, right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that when, again, I would say, and this may sound, just because of the circumstances surrounding it, like negative, and it's not. But, I became a single mother um, when my second husband left, and it was just a very tumultuous time, and it was just a very crazy time. But I remember that I was stronger, if that makes sense. Like I couldn't be this as a parent, you're just afraid. What are you going to do? You need help. You need people. You need resources.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, thousands of miles away from my family in California and Louisiana. With a divorce, you lose all your friends, and so you're just kind of alone. And yet, I realized, like, that's when I realized at that point. This is in 2016. I I can handle this. Like, wait a minute. And it really was. It was like, wait a minute. I've had 3 kids at this point. Like I've raised them. I can work. I'm a single mom in it. I work. I have a good job. I'm a nurse. I just remember realizing at that point, and it was through my kids. Look at my kids. My kids are doing good. They're doing well in school. They're good human beings. I got this. I am a lot stronger than I realized, than I thought I was. And so I really do think that I attribute that to them. And that goes back to even remembering that it was a dark time, but they gave me so much hope. Like it was a time where there was so much struggle going on, and there's a lot of fear, and it wasn't a very great time, dark period of my life, but they gave me so much like hope. And I can get through this because I've done this, and and I've got to do it for them. So I definitely saw my value and my strength. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's
Yep.
huge. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good. It's good.
Because you don't think that, like, in parenting that you're actually changing. Like you said, yes, self-development, but like you don't think that your kids are the ones changing you because you're making the impact on their lives. But in reality, they're
Right.
changing you. Like they're making you a better person by testing your
Yes.
patience, by
Yes.
doing just things that you wouldn't consider at all.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You find yourself in some really, yeah. Don't ever say you'll never do that.
Right.
Or you'll never let your kids do that, because you'll find yourself, what are we doing? What's
What?
happening? Wow. Yeah, for sure.
That's so good. Well, that's all we have this week. Be sure to tune in next week for more Words from Your Mama.